Good day, everyone. I'm Daryl, the Northern Vinyl Guy, and I'm back at you with another video. It's been a little while since I did my last video, just trying to come up with some ideas. Plus, I was out of town. I was on a trip with some high school students in Greece and Italy. So now that I've kind of got back and settled in, I figured I'd come at you with some more videos. So one of the ideas that I had, I am from Northern Ontario, Canada. I put my Canadian bands and musicians that I have artists into a randomizer kind of thing, and I figured I'd go through some of my Canadian albums that I have in my collection of musicians and which ones I like, which ones are my favorite, what songs I like, and it's going to be kind of part of a series, and I'm going to call it Canadiana. This will be Canadiana Part 1. And so what I'm going to do is in each video, I am going to go through 6 albums that I have that are of Canadian musicians or bands or whatever it may be, and kind of go over why I like them, maybe why there's some significance to these albums in my life. And what I'm going to do in each video is I'm going to go from chronological order, or at least chronological order of when the bands would have arisen and stuff like that. Not necessarily by the date the albums were released. All right, so without further ado, my randomizer started me off with the Guess Who. So the Guess Who, a band from Manitoba, Burton Cummings and Bachman are in the band, and they released several albums, but this is a greatest hits one that I have. I don't have any particular specific albums by them. I just have a couple of greatest hits ones. Of course, they're known, Billboard Top 40 with American Woman as probably their most known song. But on the greatest hits compilation, what do we have here? On this one, we got These Eyes, we got Laughing, Undone, No Time, American Woman. These are all classic Canadian songs. So I figured I'd start you off with, probably what I would classify as one of the most famous Canadian bands of all time. Why is this significant to me? Well, I've only been to a handful of NHL hockey games in my life. All 3 games were with the original Winnipeg Jets hockey team in the 1980s, early 1990s. When my dad was alive, I had the fortunate opportunity of going to see a couple of those games. And during one of the games, Burton Cummings, he used to do the Canadian national anthem on his organ on the ice. You can see some of the video clips actually on YouTube. But Burton Cummings actually has kind of it's memorable for me. I used to love watching him, at least with those anthems. And my dad used to play the Guess Who all the time when I was growing up as a kid. So, Burton Cummings, the Guess Who, and of course, some Randy Bachman, who went on later on to form Bachman Turner Overdrive, another Canadian band. All right. The second one that my randomizer came up with was Gino Vannelli. Gino Vannelli, I do have quite a few albums by him in my collection from the province of Quebec. Now, my favorite song by him is Wild Horses, but I do not have that album. Unfortunately, the album that does have that on it, I did get it on Discogs one time, and when it was sent to me, the album was warped. I just haven't had a chance to get the album with Wild Horses on it. So my next favorite album by him is the Brother to Brother album, and this is the one that has I Just Wanna Stop on it. Great track. This one's from the 1980s. Chronologically, I guess, if we're talking about Gino Vannelli, I mean, he got his beginnings in the 60s and 70s, but a lot of his famous work from Canada is the 1980s. So yeah, this is a great album. If you have a chance to pick this one up, strongly recommend it. Brother to Brother. Why do I like Gino Vannelli? I don't know a lot of French music. He's probably, a singer from Quebec, or at least one of the bands from Quebec. Predominantly his music is in English, so therefore I understand it. But I just think he's a great pop rock artist from my neighboring province there next door. So, and I do have family that live in Quebec. One big memory that I do have, the first, I guess, concert that I went to. You know, this is an aside, not Gino Vanelli, but I did get to see Emerson, Lake and Palmer play in Quebec City. So I do have some ties with different bands and things of that nature from that province. Okay. My next one that I got is Chilliwack. You know, Mom, if you're watching this, my mother does not like Chilliwack, but I love Chilliwack. This is the Wanna Be a Star album. I do have multiple albums dating back to the early 70s by Chilliwack. This is the one that has My Girl on it. Was a Billboard hit. And of course, I don't know, it's my favorite song by them. So what do they have on here? I Believe is the other main track that's on this album. Once again, I think they're a great Canadian rock band. And I mean, I don't have anything else to say other than, you know, My Girl's probably one of my top 20 songs of all time. All right, so Wanna Be a Star. If you want to check out some Canadian rock from the 70s and 80s, this is one that you should check out. All right. Now, speaking of the 1980s, probably one of my favorite Canadian bands of all time. A lot of people might cringe at this one, but me growing up in the 80s and the 90s, my high school years, I loved the band Glass Tiger, and this is the Diamond Sun album. Of course, the title track is a great tune on here, but I'm Still Searching is another track that's on here. You can also get the Airplay album, which has their greatest hits, I guess, but that one's not released on vinyl. This also has My Song, Watching Worlds Crumble, Sending Your Love. Those are all great tracks on this. The one song that's not on this, that actually is my favorite song by Glass Tiger, is My Town. It's on a different album. However, I do like that song, especially the version that they do with Rod Stewart in it. But My Song is a great album from this, Diamond Sun. So if you have a chance to check this one out, Diamond Sun, Glass Tiger. At the end of 2023, I actually grabbed a couple of other albums. I didn't realize that they had made a few albums in the late 2020s. Alan Frew, the lead singer of the band, has had some serious health issues over the last little while, but he's recuperated from it, and they did make a 7-song EP titled 33. I will probably cover that on a future video. But yes, Glass Tiger, Diamond Sun, great album from the 1980s. All right, now going into the 1990s, my fifth record that I'm going to talk about here. I mean, this wouldn't be a Canadiana video without talking about Bryan Adams, of course. Now, this is Waking Up the Neighbors. This is the one with Everything I Do It For You from the Robin Hood soundtrack. But there's, of course, a few other tracks that are on here that really good stuff. This brings me kind of, I guess, into my high school years. That's why I'm picking this one instead of some of his earlier ones. However, I will talk about some of the earlier Bryan Adams ones. So if we're looking at this one, do I have to say the words? You know, crack the Billboard 40. And this is a double album, I do believe. But some other tracks that are on here: Bryan Adams, Everything I Do It For You. Thought I'd Died and Gone to Heaven. Another one that is classic on this album. So if you are looking at some Bryan Adams and you'd like some of his early 90s stuff, I highly recommend his Waking Up the Neighbors album. All right. And that brings me to my final album from Canadiana, and I have featured this in one of my previous videos, that was highly influential on me, in particular in my late high school days. And I know some other channels have covered this, or at least briefly, and this is the Amanda Marshall self-titled album. I would say that in 2023 and 2024, this is probably one of my most played albums, at least in 2024 for sure. This is my most played album. Sorry, I hope I didn't say least, but my most played album is her self-titled. So tracks such as Dark Horse, Birmingham, Sitting on Top of the World, Trust Me, This Is Love. These are all great songs. But my favorite song actually is the last song on side 2, which is called Promises. I don't know. There's just something about it, really laid back, mellow. This album, touches base on a lot of subjects, including, leaving someone. Covers topics such as alcoholism. It covers other heavier topics, but it also covers some lighter topics. Sitting on Top of the World, of course, very positive song. Last Exit to Eden, little bit more mellow, but very positive. And then, Dark Horse, Beautiful Goodbye. These are all great tracks. And Let It Rain, actually, the first song on side 1, I think is probably the one that got the most airplay on Much Music and MTV. So yeah, Amanda Marshall, if you are looking to check out some, this is a great female singer, not really known in the United States or around the world, but check it out. Self-titled, Amanda Marshall. This one was re-released, I believe, in 2018, 2019. So yeah, if you are looking at some great Canadiana, these are 6 albums that I recommend. In the future, I will be doing 6 more Canadian musicians or albums that I've got in my collection. And so I hope you enjoyed. Take care. I will see you on the next one. I am Daryl, the Northern Vinyl Guy. If you please like me, subscribe. Have a great one.